Now, I know you all may be wondering, why would you watch a TV show if it's bad? Well, let me tell you something. I am someone who loves to watch TV. I watch a lot of stuff online. I've been getting to a lot of anime in 2024. And one thing that you never really know when you're watching a TV show, you don't really know how it's going to go. You don't know where the storyline's going to, cross. And sometimes you just got to lend yourself to the vibe. And really, a lot of shows, there were a lot of continuing shows in 2024. New shows, sparsed, here and there. But putting together this list, I was actually surprised how I forgot about these shows. And looking over the list, I was like, oh yeah, I remember these shows. Like, because sometimes you watch something, and when you're watching it, you're like, oh, this is garbage. How dare you bring this before me? This is your finished product that I am meant to consume as the viewer?
That's real. Like, you're just like, turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it off right now.
I need to talk to every single person that was in the room that allowed this to make it to the final cut.
If you're watching anime, sometimes just the weird I don't watch it alone, but the weird nonsense, right? You'll be watching the show and you go from ichi ni sa to turn it off right now. Turn it off. I don't want to see this no more. Get rid of it.
Yeah, and what I mean, I've watched good shows, whether it's anime or just regular live action shows. There are a lot of good shows that came out 2024. For instance, Black Dove.
Have you watched Dungeon Meshi?
I love Delicious in Dungeon. I love Dungeon Meshi. I love that show. JJ is smiling right now. For those who are listening, JJ is smiling right now. The reason why he mentioned the Dungeon Meshi or Delicious in Dungeon is because a voice actor on the show, an English voice actor, his name is Damien Haas. He voices Laos, the main character. Damien Haas is also a member of Smosh. Damien Haas was also my crush in 2021. That's why he's bringing it up. Because he wants to embarrass me. And now he's pretending to maniacally laugh.
I didn't say any of that. I just brought up the show. You brought up the background information. You brought up the background information. You brought up the background information. Not me.
No.
That was you. That was you. Yes.
You didn't say it, but your face did. Okay?
My face didn't say anything. You said it. My face could have implied something completely different. I could have been saying there was a banger.
I had to say it because people need context. People need background information. I know why you brought it up, but they don't know why. And now I'm just letting them know.
And now
we all know.
And that's just something they know.
And now we all know. I'm glad all 30 of my listeners know that I had a crush on Damien Haas in 2021. Thank you.
There's no shame in that, honestly.
There's no shame in it now. He's in 3 different Netflix animes now. He's actually he's actually kind of doing well in anime.
Bro thinks he's Sunwon Cho or something. Cho. Bro thinks he's Sunwon Cho. That's what it is.
I mean, he's kind of like Jonas Scott almost. He's getting there, He's getting there. Shout out to Damien Haas. Anyways, so we're gonna be talking about the worst TV shows of 2024, and the first show we're gonna be covering today is a new. Okay, here we go. Yeah. The first show we're going to be covering today is the show Uzumaki. Now, Uzumaki is an anime that is adapted from Junji Ito's manga. Now, if you don't know who Junji Ito is, he is a prolific manga artist who is world-renowned for his very grotesque and unique horror manga. He's written and drawn a lot of manga in many, many years. But Uzumaki is kind of like his magnum opus. So in 2020, I believe... Oh, wait, no. It was before 2020. I believe it was 2019. In 2019, he, met with Adult Swim and Production IG. And they came together to, make a deal to allow him to adapt Uzumaki as a 4-episode anime. And basically, Adult Swim was like, hey, take all the time you want. they basically wrote him a blank check. It was very like carte blanche. They were like, we know this is a very intricate piece of work. This is your magnum opus. We want you to make it in the way that you want to make it. So, you have free will. Go about it however you'd like to. And so they started production. And then in 2020, the pandemic happened. And then they tried to start it back up in 2021. And then there were a lot more delays. And then in 2022, there were more delays. And a lot of things were changing in terms of the production side of the show. But eventually, they had a finished product that they released in 2024. And many fans of Uzumaki were very excited because a lot of people love Junji Ito's work. There have been a lot of adaptations that have been released, or a lot of, adaptations that tried to, resemble his prolific manga artwork, but it failed in comparison. So a lot of people were excited for this adaptation to come out on Adult Swim. When episode 1 dropped, a lot of people were praising, the animation, the black and white 3D work, everything looked really great and amazing, and it came out with rave reviews. Now, with episode 2, episode 3, and episode 4, there were less than savory reviews after each and every episode. And a lot of anime fans, Junji Ito fans, were really disappointed with the finished product. And, they were looking for someone to blame. They were very upset. They were wondering, how did this happen? Why did it look so bad? Like, how did it get this bad? And I believe it was...
It was because of woke?
So
did they say it was because of woke?
No. So...
Thank goodness!
So Jason DeMarco, who is the Adult Swim producer on the project, he talked about how it was really difficult. They're basically given 3 options. They're given the option to scrap the project altogether. They're given the option to only release 1 episode and just say, screw it with all the 3 other episodes. Or they said, just you have episode 1, do episode 3 and 4, and then, put it out however the quality is, however it looks, and then it's done and then it's out of there. And there are budget constraints, there are a lot of time pressures, and a lot of that led to outsourcing work to multiple studios, and the production team basically had to choose. They chose to release incomplete episodes, and Jason DeMarco said that, basically, this is just a hand that we were dealt. He wanted to still release a finished product, because the animators and the people that worked on this project, they put a lot of time and effort into this to make it happen, and he didn't want their hard work to be thrown out, so he wanted to at least put something out there and just see and just let the final result be what it is. And yeah, it was a difficult decision on his part. Obviously there were a lot of different factors that went into the production not going well. The fact that episode 1 had Junji Ito as the animation director, but episode 2 they had 24 different animation directors, and then episode 3 there were I think 19 animation directors, and then episode 4
that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah. After animation 4 and in episode 4 there were 10 animation directors. And a lot of people wondered why this happened, because Production IG has worked with Adult Swim before. We all love Attack on Titan. We all know it very well. And, people are wondering, what happened? Why did this happen? A lot of people chalked it up to the fact that, a lot of anime studios just have really bad working conditions. And that sometimes, the work as a result will lessen in quality due to the fact that the animators are not being treated well and they have, terrible working conditions. So it does not allow them to bring out their best product. Obviously, there were rumors of David Zaslav possibly being the result of this, because in
can we take a second?
Yeah,
we gotta hate on David Zaslav. I think that it's just justified. How in whatchamacallit, Fairly Odd Parents, the Turners would be like Dinkelberg,
yeah,
something like that, but for Zaslav, he soiled it. I think that he just has a hate motive for animation, actually. And as an animation fan, I think that, I hope that the bad things in life all happen to him and only him.
Yeah, I feel like with David Zaslav, it's very clear that he is not someone who has a creative forward mindset when it comes to entertainment.
Yeah,
He, I think he was also the CEO of GQ, and apparently he was not a great boss at that company either. But somehow he got in
imagine my
charge of.
shock.
Somehow he became CEO of HBO and turned it into Max and destroyed the amazing reputation of the legacy medium and legacy production company that is HBO. And a
Yeah.
lot of people do believe, like, I think that, well, I watched a Mother's Basement video, and his
Hmm.
speculation is that David Zaslav, he became the CEO in 2022, and him seeing the fact that Adult Swim basically gave this blank check to Junji Ito to create this like 4 episode animated masterpiece. Um,
Yeah.
he probably saw that as like a drain on their resources and just figured like, hey, you either need to find somebody who's going to work on this or just shelve it all together. And honestly, I feel like that seems like the most realistic explanation for it.
Yeah, like he's like screw the art, I want the money. But also like apparently the way that he's like negotiated with partners also was really off-putting. Like um they like I'm pretty sure the Warner Bros. Discovery owns whatchamacallit Turner, and like it got to the point where like they were supposed to renew their contract for having the NBA broadcasting on TNT, right? And the NBA was like, "Screw you! Actually, I know that like you have a clause that says that you have first rights to the new contract, but we don't want you.
Mm-hmm.
We do not want you. It's that bad.
We'd love to see
Sorry,
it.
like
No, you're fine.
yeah, yeah, no, like Zaslav is honestly like it seems like he's probably good for the money for he maximizes shareholder value. But
Mm-hmm.
like for everything else, terrible. Like if you don't want to continue forward with a partner, I mean, I guess that's just business, but to do it in a way where they don't want you anymore, that's kind of an L on his part if you think about it.
Yeah. And the thing is that, like, with animation, it's not really a medium that can be rushed. It is a medium that has to be like you have to take your time with it. And Junji Ito, the drawings that he does in Uzumaki are so detailed and so like well done that if you're going to animate it, you really have to put a lot of time and care into it. And in my honest opinion, I think it's great that Adult Swim gave him like carte blanche to create this project. But 4 episodes is not enough to create the project. And honestly, I feel like they probably should have done like the old school way where they should release an episode every 6 months or so, just to like keep
Yeah.
people invested and keep people interested, because at least you're like putting something out and you can keep the quality of the animation up to par with the fans. And to be very real, Uzumaki is a manga that has a lot of storylines connected to it, and there are a lot of moving pieces in the story. For those who don't know what Uzumaki is about, it's basically about this small town where people are falling down this spiral, where they keep seeing spirals everywhere they go, and these spirals appear in their minds, these spirals appear in like little everyday things, and they slowly begin to lose their mind. And although it may seem like a very like basic concept, the way that Junji Ito crafts the story makes it harrowing and horrifying and incredibly creepy, because it's like wherever you look, you could fall symptom to the spiral because everyone else is as well, and it's very very disturbing. And to put that to animation form is something that has to be done with like a steady hand. So if you don't have a strong team behind you, or a company that is truly supporting you and has your back 100%, you're basically not going to bring a great finished product. And even the first episode
Yeah.
had pacing issues, had some animation issues, because like you cannot adapt Uzumaki in 4 episodes. I feel like from the very jump, like it needed like a 12 episode run, like most animes do. But I feel like the 4 episodes was like, I don't know. I don't know why they even started with that to even begin with, but
I guess that like also a lot of it is just like there's this focus on bingeability. So like they
mm,
like if you drop something slowly, then it's like, oh, why are you doing that? What's the point? And if people aren't like like aren't setting aside this block of time to binge the entire show immediately, it gets canceled these days,
mm-hmm.
even if it's a legitimately good show. um
Yes.
Plus like what I miss actually from from like the olden days of television,
What?
So I've been watching Deep Space Nine with a friend, and
Mm-hmm.
like just the idea of like these like shows that were allowed to like simmer and build and develop over a decade or more, like just the long runners, they're not really a thing anymore, and I think that's a shame.
Mm-hmm.
Like even something that like you think of as being on for forever before it ended, like Phineas and Ferb, it only had 4 seasons,
Yeah.
right? And like, yeah, I know that like there's growth and change, and not everything is gonna be like that. You're not always gonna have a Frasier or a Cheers. Some shows are legitimately just dookie or have short stories, and they should be wrapped up that quickly,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it just really is a shame that now like an exceptionally long show maybe gets like 6 seasons,
Mm-hmm.
and like the episodes are always gonna be so long. Like I really do like, and like every single one of them is plot critical. I just do really miss like being able to like miss an episode and come back and like the plot's still going on, but like you can sort of figure out what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Although I do think that's not that bad actually. Like it's like if you grew up like with that being your experience of TV and serialization, you kind of are better at filling in the pieces than you would be otherwise. Like my brother will start watching something like The Bear, for example. No, not the Boys. The Boys.
Mm.
He watched The Boys, and he'd like watch it without me, and I'd be like, all right, great. So I come back a few episodes later, I'm like, I have a general idea of what's going on still.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I really do miss like, I'm not trying to be like back in my day, because this is before my day. Yeah, back in my day.
Yeah.
Oh, Doctor Who was like the one exception to this rule, and even
Mm-hmm.
then it's because they get new doctors. Like it's nice to be able to like, it's just nice to be able to like see things like go slowly. Like, it's okay if you put it on the back burner to simmer.
Yeah, that is true. I do miss when shows would take their time to kind of just like build the story and,
Yeah.
take the time to really just let people get to know the characters, understand the setting, take time in world building and things like that. And I've talked about this before in like a previous podcast, but that's why I like training arcs in anime because I feel like if you're going to have an anime where one character has like this unbelievable power where they must take down these evil like creatures and
Mm-hmm.
monsters and people
Mm-hmm.
in their world, they need to train, like they need to practice. That just makes sense. And I understand that some people
100
find it
push-ups,
boring.
100 sit-ups.
Yeah. Yeah. And like recently, Demon Slayer, they had their training arc, their Hashira training arc. And some people found it boring, but I found it interesting because the Hashira, they are characters in the anime that just show up every now and again, but you don't know who these people are. Not really. If you're an anime only
Yeah.
watcher, you just kind of see them sporadically, but we don't really know them for real. And even though you saw them in season three, at the end of season three, and season two as well.
Mm-hmm.
You're introduced to like the Flame Hashira. We don't really know like where they come from, how they started, like what's their like how the information behind the Hashira are like basically surface level. And until season four, they're just kind of showing up as like these super powered demon slayers that just like they got it like that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I appreciate any kind of training arc, and I appreciate it when a show takes the time to build a story, to connect with the characters, and to allow us to connect with those characters. And the reason why we don't have that anymore is because so many shows are scared that they're going to be canceled, or they're just worried. They're worried that people are going to lose interest, and that will lead to their
Mm-hmm.
cancellation. So they are more focused on making things plot heavy and making things
Yeah.
interesting and leaving things on a cliffhanger. That way they have to get renewed.
And then they don't get renewed anyway. Like, do you remember Inside Job?
I'd seen clips of that show on TikTok, but I've never watched it.
Inside Job was such a fun show, and the story like had just really gotten into motion. And like the second season was a smash hit, like it was doing numbers, and it got canceled.
Hmm.
So, what do they want?
I don't know, man. People say that they want a show where people can watch it with their while they're on their phones, but then you keep renewing Stranger Things, and like, girl, I don't even know what's going on in that show at this point. Like, how are those kids still alive? Really? There's something wrong with them
They've got
kids.
armor. They've got armor, plot armor.
Yep.
Um, yeah, like I think that like filler episodes aren't even necessarily bad if they're like if they're like full of characterization, right? Like, okay, so we're watching the guy who's usually out doing battle and whatnot do laundry. That's fine. I don't mind if we're like seeing how he interacts with the people at the corner store while he's going grocery shopping, etc. Like, show me normal. Like, you can do it. I just need to know things about the character.
It's perfectly fine to slow the story down every once in a while.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly, exactly.
no harm in that. No harm at all. And I feel like for Uzumaki, um, it's very sad and very disappointing that it didn't turn out the way that people wanted it to. But I feel like the show
Mhm.
already had an uphill battle to begin with, because it would have been nice for them to have 12 episodes like you would have in a general anime season, to really build the story, to build storylines, for us to understand the characters, for us to really see the horrors of the spiral happening in the small town and how it's like really changing the people there. But from the very start, like, the stylized hand drawn animation that Junji Ito used for Uzumaki and his detailed line work is not something that's easily captured in anime. And they also combine like black and white 2D animation with motion capture techniques. So
Yeah.
there obviously was kind of like an uphill battle to keep the quality of the manga, transferring it to the anime, and stay faithful to the story that Uzumaki is. But at the
Mhm.
end of the day, it was just kind of like, I feel like at the end of the day, it's just another sad story of how animation is not being properly appreciated by big studios. And it's really disappointing to see, because anime is such a huge industry and a lot of Americans like anime. And it sucks that like there is a CEO like David Zaslav that is doing away with so many amazing animation products